I see what Chaps, it's Game Chap and Bird here.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, fellows, and I dare say we are now discussing the latest exciting Nintendo news. And my word, there's quite some news indeed. It seems we have new announcements for the three biggest titles of the year, you know.
Well, most certainly of the year so far that we know anyway, of course, the Majora's Mask 3D, Star Fox, and of course, The Legend of Zelda Wii U.
That's right.
Yes, good little things of information on all of those games, so you'll want to listen to this. Now, on the Majora's Mask 3D coming out soon. We don't know the exact date, but coming out soon. There's been an announcement today that they're going to release in the US a special collector's edition of the game.
That's right.
Which includes a figure.
Indeed. Now, of course, beforehand, we had confirmed for Europe a Majora's Mask Special Edition, which contained a pin badge, a steelbook case, and a poster, etc. and so forth, but now it's been confirmed that to rival the European edition of the game, there will indeed also be an American Special Edition, which contains a figurine of the Skull Kid.
Most certainly, yes indeed, and I think we might just have a little sort of preview of how that looks, haven't we?
Indeed, so as you can see, there he is, the Skull Kid figure. Now, of course, I dare say this figure is perhaps a lot more desirable than the contents of the European set, because a figure, by its nature, is much more interesting than just a simple pin badge and steel case, etc. and so forth. So I do think, indeed, the American chaps have said, well, we're not going to be outdone, now here's our take on the collector's edition.
Well, most certainly, it seems they have done this, so if you're out there in America, the USA, you will be able to get your hands on this rather desirable, no doubt, collector's edition when the game comes out. Of course, there'll be a lot of hype around the game, etc. And so here we are, a nice little figure, as you say, rather more desirable, and definitely saying to Europe, hey look, this is better, and I don't know whether we'll be able to get this over in Europe. I suppose only importing it will be the only choice.
That's right, you'd have to import it if you live in Europe. And of course we did get a figure in the Wind Waker Collector's Edition in Europe, which was a Ganondorf figure, but it seems we're not going to get a figure this time around.
Well, most certainly it seems not. So this seems to be something they're doing more and more now, putting these figures, etc., with collector's editions and trying to, you know, well, maybe they'll end up on eBay. Start selling for hundreds of dollars.
I think that's the idea, old chap. Yes, indeed. But indeed, fellows, we don't yet know when the Majora's Mask game is going to hit the States or indeed Europe, but we do know the special edition will be on the same day as the normal one.
Yes, we do. Yes, it will be released coinciding along with the other one. And I think there's something important to say here. The fact that they've actually got a box here, figure and everything, means the game must be rather closer than we perhaps think.
Indeed. I think so. And
so that's good news.
Perhaps they finished working on the game. Maybe there's only some finishing touches to make on it, but in any case, Majora's Mask will be with us soon, fellows. Now,
most certainly.
I do understand also Mr. Miyamoto has been talking about a certain space shooter, has he not, old chap?
Oh, he most certainly has. Of course, the big space shooter coming out this year, Star Fox,
yes,
which we haven't seen for years and years and years.
That's right.
So we're expecting something special. Now, Mr. Miyamoto has actually said that this Star Fox game will be playable as a demo at E3 this year.
Really? I see. So, indeed, even if perhaps Nintendo don't have a conference this year, as they haven't done in recent years, we're certainly going to be seeing a playable version of Star Fox at E3, and that should shed a lot more light on this game, which up until now has been shrouded somewhat in mystery.
Well, most certainly. Now, for the sharp among you out there, E3, when is E3? Is it
June?
June, something like this. Normally June. So we can decipher or decode from that we're not going to be seeing the game before then.
Well, perhaps. I don't know. We do know this game will make use of the Wii U gamepad and the TV together, and also it's going to take inspiration, I understand, from the 1960s TV show Thunderbirds.
Yes, indeed. There's going to be some inspiration from that, no doubt about it. But as I was saying, as far as the release of the game goes, looks like it could well be, of course, after that time, since they're demoing the thing then. And no doubt they'll be interested to get the feedback from from people that are playing the game, etc., from there. So if you're around that area, you'll no doubt want to have a go of that when it comes out.
And of course, it'll be interesting to see just how much progress they've made since the last version we saw of Star Fox at E3, where Mr. Miyamoto was sitting in that chair showing us the game. It looked quite primitive at that stage, I think, old chap. Perhaps bare bones.
Well, yes, it did, yes, very bare bones. It remains to be seen whether we'll have to wait until this E3 point to see pictures, screenshots, gameplay of the game, or whether they'll release something earlier than that.
Yes, the only other hint we have so far is that it may incorporate the gameplay flavours of Project Guard and Project Giant Robot from E3 last year.
Yes, indeed. He wants to incorporate those flavours, ideas, gameplay style, etc. into the game. So we're going to see that. So the whole game, hopefully, is going to be a lot better than the last one.
And we do actually have a side note about another another super realistic, or super futuristic in this case, simulator being, of course, F-Zero.
Oh yes, a little side note there for F-Zero.
But don't get your hopes up for F-Zero.
Well, yes,
the news is bad rather than good.
It's bad, yes. I mean, not likely unless they had the right controller.
Oh dear, that was a bit of a downer, old chap.
It was.
I'm sad now.
Yes, I apologise about that. It had to be said, so probably not on the Wii U.
I'm going to go and cry over my Captain Falcon amiibo now, old chap. I'm very upset.
Will you be crying?
Indeed, perhaps we will see an F-Zero game at some point, but maybe that'll be on the next Nintendo console, or maybe on the 3DS, who knows?
Well, yes, maybe, certainly, but I think certainly most people are going to have their vision firmly set on the big games we know so far are coming out. Of course, we know there's no Mario now.
That's right, of course, we'll have Mario Maker, but no main series Mario game.
Yes.
Now, also, I understand Mr. Eiji Aonuma, the Zelda producer, has been speaking about the latest Zelda game for Wii U.
Well, he most certainly has, yes, indeed, and could be the biggest game of the three we're talking about here at the moment.
I think so.
Who knows? I mean, it's certainly a big contender for the 3DS 3D Majora's Mask, for sure.
Yes, I think it could be Nintendo's Game of the Year, Zelda on Wii U, very possibly.
Yes, indeed. Now, of course, we've seen some screenshots of this game, and we know what it looks like, etc., or get an idea anyway. But an interesting thing that he's released here, that he said he wants to add, is the style of the Hyrule Warriors boss battles and bring them into the whole game on the Wii U.
Really? So basically,
Yes.
Mr. Aonuma, I understand, he actually oversaw the Hyrule Warriors project for Wii U whilst it was being developed by Team Ninja.
Yes.
And perhaps he had his input expressed in that game. But it seems he's taken a look at the boss battles in that game and he said, well, I like these ideas. I mean, if you think about it, normally in Zelda you fight bosses inside enclosed rooms, don't
Yes,
you?
you do, yes.
It's inside a room, always.
Very much so. In fact, we were having a go the other day, weren't we?
Yes, that's right. And it's mostly taking place inside some sort of chamber. But Mr. Aonuma has clearly seen the open field-style boss battles of Hyrule Warriors, and apparently he thinks that gameplay feels fresh, and also it may fit in line with his expansive world vision, in quotes, for this new Zelda game.
Most certainly, yes. He seems to like the style and idea of the Hyrule Warriors thing, where you've got these baddies all over the place, in the environment you are, all over the land, and you're just going smashing and bashing them, rather, as you say, than in the enclosed room idea.
I think, yes, talking about bosses specifically there, old chap, because, of course,
yes,
you did have lots and lots of regular minions, it was true,
you did.
But maybe what Mr. Aonuma was focusing on there was these huge boss monsters that randomly appear, and all of a sudden they're just there, and they can move all over this huge map.
Exactly, yes, indeed, yes. So to be clear there, we're talking about the bosses here, actually acting like those other little ones, and running around in a big environment space rather than enclosing their cavern, cave or whatever.
And generally smashing stuff up.
Smashing stuff up, yes indeed. And of course also the other thing that they do in Hyrule Warriors, which no doubt he'll want to put in as well, and may well do, is the whole idea of the boss chasing you around. Very often, yes indeed, very often before, the boss tends to stay static, sitting in something, hanging from something or whatever, and you're hitting him. But these bosses perhaps will actually, in the environment you're in, chase you around the world.
Yes,
which
of
would
course.
be completely different.
That would fit in with what we saw with the initial E3 demo there, where of course a boss did just that. It gave chase, or Link gave chase, or something happened, and he eventually had to defeat it over a bridge. So indeed there could be changing and varied scenery as you're fighting bosses, which is not usually done in video games.
Most certainly, and I think if you add to that, to the open environments they're adding, with all those sort of different things in there, interesting little people you can come across, a bit like Skyrim flavour, and you add that to it as well, then the game could have a very much better feel, a rather exciting feel, I think.
Yes, I think the character models perhaps may not look quite as sharp and realistically defined as those in Hyrule Warriors.
No.
We're certainly seeing a slightly more cartoony approach here, but I think the important thing to note is we haven't gone full Wind Waker with Zelda on Wii U. It's not quite Wind Waker. It does have a certain degree of realism about it, I think, old chap.
Well, we think it does. I mean, the graphics thing is, a lot of people, they're divided on that. Some say it doesn't matter, and some say, no, I think they jolly well should have good graphics because it's a Wii U, and it should be looking all wonderful, etc., so forth. But certainly, no, I don't think it'll be like Wind Waker, but from what we can see, it is going to be rather cartoony, which we mentioned before.
It's a semi-cartoony style, yes.
Yes, they released this wonderful, showing us the environment, etc., but it was rather zoomed out, as it were, and I think we're going to see a lot more cartoony sort of look when we're actually up close.
Yes, and of course the character models will largely alter our perception of the game. For example, if Gandalf, assuming he's in the game, looks cartoony, then that could well lead people to brand the game as a cartoony style graphical game. And also, I think the overall feel I'm getting from the new Zelda game so far is a bit of Link mixed with Mario in terms of the presentation. It's not really sort of gritty, sort of semi-realistic Link like it was in Twilight Princess. This is more, as we've been saying, of the cartoony style approach to the game, which perhaps is quite popular with the fans, I'm not sure, but it's certainly something they have not been willing to deviate from in recent years, it seems.
No, I don't know why. I mean, they gave us a little teaser last E3 and it looked rather good. I mean,
yes.
Why they've done this cartoon thing, I just don't know. But never mind, hopefully the actual gameplay will make up for that more than enough.
I think so. Now, also, as a side note, Mr. Aonuma also told the Hyrule Warriors team not to include Tingle in the game.
Ah, why?
Well, he goes, Tingle, ma! Doesn't he, old chap?
Oh, he does something like that. So he's been booted out of the game. I mean, thank goodness. Should we all say thank goodness? Is it good?
All together now. 1, 2, 3. Thank goodness! Well,
word.
yes,
I heard them
indeed.
all say it out
They
there.
all said it out there.
They all said
Tingle, indeed, he did not make an appearance in Hyrule Warriors, thankfully. And I think also, the way things are going, we may not see the ghastly ghoul in the new Zelda game either.
Well, it looks like no, perhaps not. No, certainly. Good.
Gnome, did you say?
No, good, yes.
Gnome, it's no.
No,
but anyway, that's Tingle for you, Bill. Now, also, in the UK and Europe, Nintendo have offered Club Nintendo 3DS ambassadors the chance to buy a special item of sorts, old chap.
Well, most certainly have, yes, a little bit in there that you might be interested in, all you Nintendo fans, etc. so forth. They have indeed. They said that if you're an ambassador in the Nintendo Club, then you can buy this special standard size model 3DS.
The new 3DS, that is.
3DS standard size model, yes indeed, for £180, which is about, I don't know, not these dollars.
$290
something dollars. Now the thing is, that's rather a good deal, I suppose.
But hold on, wait, just a moment. This is the new model of 3DS, which you cannot get anywhere in the West at the moment.
No! Have we got one?
Actually, I do have a new 3DS XL sitting on the side, but it is from Japan, so it doesn't really count.
No, you can't get it yet, you see.
You can't get these anywhere in the West yet unless you buy them from Japan, and it seems Nintendo are seizing on this opportunity by saying, well, ambassadors who are part of Club Nintendo, you can get in there early and buy this special model for a rather high price.
You can indeed. Now the thing is, you see, that's rather fun. You're going to be able to get the model soon when it comes out. When does it come out, by the way?
I'm not sure, actually.
Not
soon,
sure.
I think.
But these chaps in Club Nintendo can get it now. Now, of course, the thing is, what this has done is it's meant that those people thought, this is wonderful, I've got this early, and they started to farm it and start selling it elsewhere. So now they're coming up on eBay for over £400.
So these very, very loyal Nintendo fans who are being given this once-in-a-lifetime chance, they've taken that and all they can see are pound signs.
Well, exactly, yes, they can see pound signs.
Cha-ching! Yes, so it seems indeed, Vales, that the Nintendo fans, as it were, some of them may not be fans quite as much as you may have thought they were, and indeed, these have hit the market of eBay, whereupon the bidding is already going into a frothing frenzy.
Yeah, well, yes, apparently. But I would exercise caution there, because if you wait, you'll get it without having to pay stupid prices.
Well, actually, these are very limited edition items, and also what's amusing about the bidding so far is that bally things haven't even been shipped out by Nintendo yet. They're all sitting in a warehouse in Nintendo's offices, you'll say.
That's puzzling, isn't it?
Puzzling, but yet people are still paying up money for perhaps a slot inside that warehouse, I suppose.
Well, exactly, so be very, very careful with that.
Be careful how you do this, fellows. These aren't actually physical products in the hands of the sellers, as it were.
No.
But indeed, it's quite a desirable item, and I just wonder whether it's worth paying out all that money for the standard size model, because after all, everyone wants the XL, old chap, don't they?
Well, yes, they do want that, and I think it's not going to be too long from now. Who knows, maybe even next year, they might say something about it at E3. That a brand new 3DS, or whatever they might call it, model coming up for handhelds from Nintendo.
Well, we don't know.
I think we need it, because I think their console, even the new one here, is looking a little bit outdated now compared to some other handhelds.
I do think we could see a new Nintendo handheld in 2016, certainly, old chap. So the console you buy here may only last for 1 year, perhaps, I'm not sure. But in any case, I didn't get sent one of these invitations, perhaps because although I was a 3DS ambassador, I'm not actually part of Club Nintendo, you'll say.
Aren't you?
So perhaps you have to fulfill these certain criteria to qualify. But in any case, a rather interesting proposal.
Oh, it most certainly is, yes indeed. So we've got the Skull Kid, we've got information on Zelda Wii U, all the whole bit, Star Fox, it's all rather fun, and it's all building up for the big releases.
And sad news for F-Zero fans, but never mind, we'll fly about it later, I say.
Yes,
this has been Game Channel Bird Infidels with the latest Nintendo news. We'll stay tuned, I say, and you do too. We look forward to seeing you once more the next exciting on my word.
Oh, yes.
Until then.